Good morning. Oh, that sounds pretty good, pretty good. Welcome to all of you. Whether you've been here forever or you just came this morning or you've been away for a little while and you decided this is the morning to come back, welcome. Yeah, well, I can't point at my mouth because that makes problems. Okay? Everybody happy? Okay. And I have a very special welcome this morning for all the kids who are with us this morning. I don't know if you know it or not, but we've missed you. Even after we were all back in the sanctuary, you weren't back here with us, and we have missed you, and it's wonderful to have you with us today. I'm the Reverend Fran Manley, a member of the Worship Associates Ministry team, and I have the privilege and the pleasure of preaching this morning. I'm joined in the pulpit by Charlene Montgomery, our worship associate. We are blessed to be here together, and we acknowledge that the land upon which our church stands rests on the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee people, the original nations of this land, who continue to call for justice and self-determination. And now we have, of course, a few announcements. Reverend Joan will be leading new member classes this month. If you are interested in joining our church and are also interested in a fun, get-to-know-you, informative, explorative time of faith and fellowship, this is for you. You'll find details about it in your order of service insert and in the e-blast. Over here we have our giving tree. There are just about, last count, 7 gift tags left on it. Each of the gifts is for a member of a family supported by Family Promise, Buffalo's truly excellent transitional housing service for whole families. In other words, our congregation is playing Santa for 2 families who otherwise might not get no Christmas at all. So after the service, I hope that 7 of you, or maybe 1 of you who just wants to buy a lot of presents, will take these gift tags home with you. If you had a couple last week and you had so much fun buying presents you want to buy more, take another one. If you didn't get one last week, then by all means, get one and take care of it if you can. You will purchase the gifts this week, wrap them, put the tag on the gifts, and bring it back next Sunday, December 11th. But before you leave with your tag, over at that table, after the service, Rachel Krajna and Susan Wishart will be there, and you need to register your tag with them so we know who has which ones. Also, next Sunday is Mitten Tree Sunday, and it's already started, I can see. Every year we festoon our holiday tree with warm new mittens, hats, scarves, gloves, and socks for everybody, for new Buffalonians who come here through Journeys and Refugee Services. So next Sunday, bring both your warm things for the tree and your wrapped and tagged Family Promise gifts. There are lots and lots of things happening in our church. You will find the current relevant ones right here in the insert in your order of service and also in your e-blast. So please check that, because if we read the whole thing to you this morning, we wouldn't have time for anything else. So you're responsible. And finally, I have one slight change in the order of service. Chris reminded me that Christine McVie of the band Fleetwood Mac died this week. And so in her memory, instead of the Schumann that's listed in your order of service, Chris will play Snowbird for the postlude. And now, one of the many ways we unveil the bonds that bind each to all in our beloved community is to take a few moments to greet our neighbors. Let's take a few moments to say hello, especially to somebody you don't even know. No, we just have to get going. I haven't named them ahead of time, so we'll just try to get some volunteers.
I just want to say it's hard to hear. It really is. Everyone, same thing. We can't hear you.
Really?
No. Just pull
You
it down
can't put it close. You cannot point it to your mouth. It does not work. I can try it at my chin. It's supposed to. Should be. Okay. I'll try. Okay, I don't know.
They need to turn it up back there.
Maybe they do. I thought it was, I was hearing it echoing all around. It was
I could hear you.
Well, you're right there.
No.
Oh, yeah. That's me. Go for it. Yeah. You got that if you want.
We gather in reverence before the wonder of life, the wonder of this moment, the wonder of being together so close yet so apart, each hidden in our own secret chamber, each listening, each trying to speak, yet none fully understanding, none fully understood. We gather in reverence before all intangible things that eyes see not, nor ears can detect, that hands never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure. Come, let us worship. Please stand as you are willing and able and join in our chalice lighting found in your order of service. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves to create a more just and compassionate world. Please remain standing and join in our hymn number 225, O Come, Emmanuel, in your gray hymnal.
Okay, are we on? Okay, I'd like to invite any kids who'd like to come up and join me because I might need a little bit of help with this. Right here on the red carpet. Anybody? Maya's coming. Okay, you can sit around if you want. You can stand if you want, or sit on the steps, whatever you like. We haven't done this in so long, nobody remembers how it works. Wonderful. Okay. Somebody take a picture of this. Okay. All right, first of all, most of you haven't met me. You don't know who I am. Who am I?
I don't know your name, but I know.
But you've seen me around, yeah. There's a lot of people like that, absolutely. Well, I'm Miss Fran, okay? And I've got a helper this morning, and that's Miss Charlene. And we're going to talk about Advent. Do any of you have an Advent calendar? Oh, almost everybody does. Let's hear about a couple of them. What is yours? Who wants to tell me what yours is like?
Well, the first one is like crafts.
Like crafts?
Yeah, like
Something to do each day? Okay. What does yours do?
Mine has chocolate.
Chocolates, right? Chocolates in it.
Every day we get a small piece of chocolate.
Okay, another chocolate. Okay, way in the back here.
We have two Advent calendars. Me and Mom both have two Advent calendars.
Wow.
One of them has chocolate and another has pictures and also the night before.
Okay, chocolates and a picture. Okay, so why do we have Advent calendars? Yeah, what are they for? Count down the days till Christmas. Well, there's another thing we do for Advent, in churches especially, but sometimes people do it in their homes too, is we light Advent candles. And they're about the things that this whole season leading up to Christmas stands for and what Christmas is about. And so we're going to light the Advent candles this morning. Usually you might light them one the first week, and 2 the second week, and 3 the third week, and so on. But we're going to light them all this morning. So that's where I might need a little bit of help. So the first candle we're going to light is for hope. Hope. That's what Christmas is about, hope for a better future, for a better world for us. So who would like to help light the hope candle? Okay, you haven't, yep, no, the girl, well, it doesn't matter. Both of you come up, We've only got 4 candles, so there you go. And Charlene will help, and we're gonna light one of the purple candles. Okay, you can take the white candle and light the purple candle with it. Light now the Advent candle 1. The work of waiting has begun. A single flame now shining bright beams hope throughout the long, dark night. Okay, you do the next one. All right, wait a second. The second candle, we're going to light a second candle, is for love, because Christmas is all about love. Light now the Advent candle 2. For love is bringing something new, a baby to a family, and miracles for you and me. Oh, we got more volunteers that we could possibly use. Okay, there. All right, this is the third candle, is for joy, and so that's our pink candle. Light now the Advent candle 3, as people happy songs employ. We light a pink one on this day to signify the light of joy. Okay. And our last candle is for peace. Peace on earth, goodwill to all. Light now the Advent candle 4, a blazing light that shines for peace. The babe has come to teach us love. May hope, love, joy, and peace increase. Thank you all for helping and for being here. And we've got our candles lit. So now, if you like, you can leave and go to your classes. and we'll see you right here next week. You can start whenever it feels appropriate.
Freely have we received of gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. Each week, we take a good portion of our offering and give it away to a social justice cause outside the church walls. This month, our Share the Plate recipient is Stitch Buffalo. And here to speak to us is Sherry Vogelbaum, and she will tell us all about it. Sherry?
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm so honored to speak on behalf of all the people that are a part of Stitch Buffalo. Okay, thank you. And so I'm just going to start real quick with an obligatory reading of the mission statement so you can get a better idea of what Stitch Buffalo encompasses. We are a textile art center committed to empowering refugee and immigrant women through the sale of their handcrafted goods. And so we as an organization provide materials and supplies and tools and support on the creative end. We provide that to the members of our Refugee Women's Workshop, and these women come from all over the world. They come from Burma and Nepal, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia, Peru, Iran, and I personally have the pleasure and the joy of watching each of these creative journeys that these women are on now that they're here in the United States, and their embrace, or the embrace of their work and themselves by the community through Stitch Buffalo. And for instance, this tunic that I have on, this is from a recently resettled evacuee from Afghanistan. Her name is Noor Bibi, and she came over with this talent, and now she has an opportunity to do this work and make money from this work. And in fact, this particular woman, Noor Bibi, who embroidered the panel, and then the dress that was sewn by another beautiful Afghan refugee, Palwasha Bezir. And so there are these stories all throughout every single item that I have out on the table and all the things that we produce. And is just an incredible thing to watch. And if you come into our store, the energy is palpable, the spirit, through the threads and the work that's done, the colors, the designs that are all expressions of their creativity and their love. The next pillar of our organization is inspiring creativity and inclusion through community education. And so we have workshops and classes that are directed to youth, to crafters and people who want to learn new skills, to people who are experts that are wanting to expand their vocabulary, of creativity in all manner of the textile arts, dyeing and embroidery and weaving and felting and all of these things. These classes are free to our refugee women in the workshop. But another thing that is really incredible, that is a way for us to create a way for the women to become included in the community, is that we guide them into teaching positions as well. You know, I am an instructor at Stitch as well as the manager. And so I have worked alongside Muna, who recently came over from Pakistan. I was teaching a class with her, and so she now has the confidence to teach a class herself. And so these are some of the ways that we create connection and create opportunities for members of our community through community education. And finally, but not lastly, we steward the environment through the reuse of textile supplies. We take supply, materials, tools, all manner of textile things to work with, and we sort through all of these things, and much of what we take in is used in the beautiful work that's produced in the Refugee Women's Workshop and our community classes. But what we can't use, we then resell to the public to support our programs. And this is a boon to the creative community that cuts a wide swath across different communities here in Buffalo. You know, we have our students, you know, at Buff State, fashion students who come in to get their muslin, their threads, and the guidance of our experienced volunteer and staff. We have refugees who come in who are, they get sewing machines and things that help them to start creating. We have people who are crafters, and these are prices that are, you know, make it easy to do what they do. And so, yes, these are some of the ways that we work within the community to create inclusion, to create opportunity, and to inspire creativity. So some of the ways that you can help out, you can visit our store. We are located at 1215 Niagara Street, which is right across from Rich Products. Our studio and workshops are located there. I'd be happy to take you on a tour throughout our facilities anytime you stop in, so that you can see the wonderful work that's being done, you know, past the shop. We are also online at stitchbuffalo.org, and we're on Etsy. And I'm out there today. And you can donate your unused textile supplies. It really helps us, and it really helps the people within the programs. You can take a community class and connect with the people who are interested in the textile arts. And you have an opportunity to sit next to your neighbor and have these wonderful conversations. I think that is one of the things that I really love. And you can commission a special piece if you wish. So, and you can donate. Thank you very much. I appreciate being here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And as you heard, there are several ways you can make your offering. You can use PayPal by going to our website and clicking on the blue donate button. You can mail a check to the church, or you can arrange a regular automatic deposit with your bank. Or, of course, if you're here in the sanctuary, you can drop it in the plate. If yours is a gift to our Share the Plate ministry, please write "share" on the memo line of your check, or check "share" on the PayPal screen, and it will be shared between Stitch Buffalo and the church operating budget. If yours is a welcome gift to our congregation, please write "Pledge 2022" on the memo line, Either way, please make the check out to UUCB. Let us give generously to support the work of our church and Stitch Buffalo as we work together to widen circles of our welcome and our caring. This morning's reading is titled Christmas Comes Whether You're Ready or Not by Christine Fredo. I am always in a bit of a shock when December 1st arrives on the calendar. I always feel like there should be at least another week beyond Thanksgiving before I can even contemplate the next holiday. I think, however, that beyond the incredible demands of the season, the hardest part to reconcile is that the heart is not always in sync with angels, presents, babes in a manger, and the ho, ho, ho that is Christmas. Sometimes it feels like you just go through the motions because that's what is expected. Sometimes I wish Christmas would take a vacation and return midwinter next year. Yet, there is something compelling about the fact that Christmas comes no matter what. The celebration of the birth of Jesus comes no matter the season of your heart. The Prince of Peace, the baby that would bring a message of universal equality, compassion, forgiveness, and love, is reborn again and again and again, no matter our state of mind or being. Indeed, in spite of it. Perhaps that is the real miracle of the season, that hope and possibility cannot be denied. As I contemplate the state of the world at this moment in time, I cannot think of anything more needed than a reminder of our potential to bring peace and healing and possibility into our lives. We don't always feel it or see it or think it is there, but then there comes Christmas, even when we aren't ready to receive it. A reminder that no matter what season of the heart that we are in, no matter what struggles or grief are consuming us, Christmas will not let us forget the light that was born in us, even on the darkest night of our souls. So, even if you can't deal with all the razzle, dazzle, and expense of this holiday, at the very least, open the inn door and prepare the manger of your heart for the gentle but powerful message that is seeking to be reborn in you. Never forget that you are a child of the universe, and where there is life, there is light and love and hope waiting to be reborn again and again and again. So turn on some twinkling lights, pour yourself a glass of eggnog, or not, and wait for that angel chorus to announce your heart's rebirth.
Let us join our hearts and minds now in a time of prayer, reflection, and meditation. This is the season of Advent, a time of waiting, a time of darkness, a time of coming to birth. If only for this moment, let the jingle bells be silent. Let the glaring lights and the bright colors go dim, for they herald a season that is not yet here. This is a time of turning inward, a time of longing, a time of preparing, a time of waiting. We come to this day and this season as we are, not as the blaring noise of the world tells us we should be. The day and the season come to us as we are, holding us close in the darkness as we watch and wait. In this holy season, may we feel the spirit of life and love within us and among us, rejoicing with us, suffering with us, waiting with us in the dark, in the silence of our deepest longings, as we make our slow way toward that Bethlehem that is not a town, past or present, but a place in our hearts, where the cry of the newborn baby can be heard. And now let us fill the space of this sanctuary with the names of friends and loved ones suffering in sorrow and celebrating in joy. Each name a breath, each breath a prayer. The breath of nature is upon us, the spirit of life is within us, and the community of love is among us. So be it. Blessed be, and let the church say, Amen. When I was a child, these last few weeks before Christmas were excruciating. Christmas was up ahead, shining impossibly bright and wonderful, like the star the wise men followed, while we plodded through our days. It felt like everything was in slow motion. The days long, the weeks interminable, the night before Christmas, the longest night of the year. We baked cookies, we decorated the Christmas tree, we opened packages from relatives far away, carefully shook and felt the tightly wrapped presents and put them under the tree. One year, my mother arranged for my sister and me to talk on the telephone to Santa Claus, a deep-voiced friend who worked with my father. Another year, in our little house without a fireplace, we made a pretend mantle out of cardboard and crepe paper printed like bricks to hang our stockings on. You might think that all of this would have made the time pass more quickly, but really, all it did was increase our unbearable sense of anticipation. Christmas in those days was a wonderful thing that just happened all on its own. It would come when it would come, and all we could do was wait and wait and wait. I remember it as a time when I barely existed in the present. I was living more in Christmas Day than in today for weeks on end. And the amazing thing was that at least when I was very young, Christmas really did live up to my expectations of it. It wasn't that our Christmases were extravagant. We didn't have a lot of money, and many of our presents were homemade, or even hand-me-down toys from the older children of friends, or practical things like pajamas. There weren't a lot of them by today's standards, but then we didn't have TV commercials to make us aware of all the things we weren't getting. Then, at long last, after all that waiting, after all that longing, after a night that we thought would never end, it was Christmas morning, and Santa Claus had come, and we could at last open the presents that had been teasing us for weeks, and it was wonderful, literally wonderful. Maybe your childhood Christmases were not like that. Many were not. In fact, mine probably wasn't either, really. At this distance of many years, I'm probably romanticizing it shamelessly. But I'm sticking to my story, because as with every good story, there's something in it that's true. And at the heart of this story, I call this one the I Can't Wait story, are some of the deep truths of Advent and Christmas. There's the essential idea that Christmas is something that's simply given to us by a generous universe. We can't make it happen. There's the idea that when Christmas does come, as it always does, it's a time full of wonder. And above all, there's the longing, the overwhelming longing for the goodness and beauty and wonder that is Christmas. Now, maybe you're thinking, bah, humbug. We're not little children anymore, and that's not the real story. Well, I agree with you this far. It's not the only story. Most of us, I imagine, even if we once lived in that story, have moved on to another one. Maybe it's the one I got into about the time my own children were living the I Can't Wait story. In this story, Christmas was something quite different because it no longer came as a gift. I was the one who did the shopping, the wrapping, the cleaning, the baking, the decorating. I was the one, at least one of the ones, who had to make it all happen. I remember a billboard one year around this time. It read, "Happy Holidays," and then in parentheses, "Some assembly required." It was from HSBC Bank. In this story, anticipation is no longer a kind of delicious, unbearable longing. It feels more like dread. From here to Christmas is no longer an impossible time to wait. Quite the contrary, it's nowhere near long enough to get everything done. Maybe those of you who do your Christmas shopping all year round are able to do it carefully and lovingly and even enjoy it. Leave it till late, till now, and it can become a kind of grim duty carried out with a deadline hanging over your head. The name of this story is not I Can't Wait, but I'm Not Ready. It's not just the shopping and the decorating and the wrapping and the shipping either. Something deeper inside. Christmas is coming, and we're not ready for it. It just doesn't feel like Christmas, whatever that means. Maybe it's that we long to be back in the I Can't Wait story, and we don't know how to find our way there. Maybe it's that we know that nothing in our lives, as they are right now, can possibly match up to the images of Christmas all around us. Nothing we can do between now and then can bring into being that perfect family, that perfect tree, that perfect dinner, that perfect carol sing around the piano. And don't even think about how far we are these days in our own hearts and in the world from peace on earth, goodwill to all. In any case, when Christmas does come, as it will, whether we're ready or not, it may be downright wonderful in spite of us. But it's not always as wonderful as we think it ought to be. In fact, it may be downright awful, the loneliest time of the year for some of us. Or it may be just nice, but not wonderful. And over our heads, like the Star of Bethlehem, shines the image of the Christmas that maybe we once had, and maybe someday we'll have, but we're not having it now. Surely there must be another story. The I Can't Wait is a small child's story. Nobody can really live in it much past the age of 8. And the I'm Not Ready story, which sometimes comes dangerously close to being the bah humbug story, well, maybe it's just being realistic. But it can be a rather sad, barren, and sometimes frantic place to live our lives. So we need another story, a story that is somehow more deeply the story of Advent and Christmas than either of these. We might find a clue to that story in the story of Mary, as told in the first chapter of the book of Luke. This is the story I call Already and Not Yet. Already and Not Yet. As Christmas is the story of a birth, so Advent is the story of a pregnancy. Pregnancy is a time of waiting, of looking forward, of longing. There is nothing the mother can do to speed it up or slow it down. Nothing really, except to wait. The birth will happen in its own good time. Especially toward the end, that last month, we might imagine that Mary, like many women, was living in a version of the I Can't Wait story. All she really wanted was for that child to be born. At the same time, even though as the story has come down to us, she may have had more reason than most women to believe that her child would be perfect and wonderful. In real life, the mother of Jesus must have wrestled with many of the same questions that mothers throughout history have asked. Am I ready to have a child? Will I know how to take care of it? Will I have enough milk to feed it? Will my labor be hard? Will my baby be healthy and strong? What will I do if it isn't? So we may well imagine that at times Mary was also living in the I'm not ready story. Yet neither of these is really the whole story, because the waiting itself is part of the story. At any story that only looks ahead at the birth of the child or Christmas morning is missing something essential. All this time, whether she was feeling, I can't wait, or I'm not ready, the child to be born was growing within her womb. Already, from the very first moment of conception, it was beginning to change her body, its chemistry, and gradually its shape. From a single fertilized cell invisible to the naked eye, this new being was gradually becoming the person he would be. Increasingly making himself known in stronger ways as she began to feel him moving, stretching, kicking, until at last they were both more than ready for him to be born. Until that moment, she's waiting for that new life, longing for the child that is to be. Yet ask any modern Mary in her last month, and she will tell you that even then, the child is already here, very much here. The story is called Already and Not Yet. As the ancient story goes, the pregnancy came to Mary from outside herself, from God, as Christmas comes in the I Can't Wait story, a gift. Never mind that the historians tell us that in real life it was more likely that Mary was a teenager raped by a Roman centurion. Yet however it began, from that moment on it was part of her, and in the darkness of her womb she nurtured it. The food she ate fed the child. The water she drank quenched its thirst. Whatever she did to care for herself, cared also for the child that was becoming. In this story, the already and not yet story, Christmas is not entirely something that just comes to us, something for which we can only wait, but neither is it something that we must or even can somehow create and make happen all by ourselves. Rather, it is something that comes to us without our seeking it. And yet, we must nurture it within ourselves, within our communities, if we would see it come to birth in us. What is this something we call Christmas? In the Christian story, Christmas celebrates the breaking through of God into the world of humanity, the divine taking on human flesh to live among us. But for many, including many Christians, that is at most half the story. Because even on the very first Christmas, the divine, the holy, was and is already in the world, is indeed the very ground of all being. We know this, but we forget it. Again and again, we forget until Christmas comes around again to remind us how the holy is always among us, always coming among us anew, born again and again in the darkest, humblest, most outcast places in our lives and in our world. It is here already, and it is not yet here. Remember the words Mary sings as she contemplates the meaning of her pregnancy. The Lord has shown great strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the powerful from their throats and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. Her words describe a world which is yet to come, a world we long for, a world of peace and justice, which the child she carried would help to bring into being. We still wait for that world. We still long for it. We wait for it as the small child waits for Christmas, knowing that if it is to come, it is beyond our small power to make it happen. Yet, at the same time, We work to bring it into being because we believe that if it means anything at all to say that God is at work in the world, it means that the divine creativity is at work through each of us. If the world Mary foresaw is ever to come, it can only come if we all work together to make it happen. And what is it that keeps us going through all this waiting and all this working? It is the glimpses from time to time that remind us that the world we long for, the world of Christmas, is already here. We see it in the courage and compassion and caring of people in response to disasters. We see it in the outpouring of gifts to charities that happens every year at this season. We see it in the saviors that rise again and again and give their lives to move the world toward love and peace and justice. A Gandhi, a Martin Luther King Jr., and many, many more. We see it wherever love triumphs, even for a moment, over hate. Wherever the human spirit rises in hope out of the depths of despair. On Christmas Day, we celebrate the birth of love and hope and peace and joy in the world. A birth that took place not once and for all 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem, but one that happens again and again in our hearts and in our world. On Christmas Day, we will celebrate the already. But now, in this season of anticipation, it is time to give ourselves to the not yet, to feel our longing for the touch of the holy in us, with us, and among us, that which is always here and yet always more fully yet to come. Advent is the time to nurture that holiness deep within ourselves, that on Christmas Day it may come to birth in us and in the world, and that every day may then be Christmas. Amen. Let's sing. Hymn number 226 in your gray hymnal.
Please remain standing and join in our words for extinguishing the chalice. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
May the spirit of Advent and Christmas past prepare in us an expectant heart. May it thaw the wintry coldness of our ways and teach us that Bethlehem is not a town, past or present, but a place in our hearts where the cry of the newborn baby can be heard. Remember, you are blessed. You are a blessing. And above all, remember, you are not alone. You are never alone. So be it, blessed be, and let the church say, Amen.